Hello everyone. Now we start the class formally. So welcome to the unit and also welcome to the class. I'm Yu. And if you have already read listened to the welcome statement, so you must have knowing my name, my contact details, and also knowing the basic contents covered in this unit. So today we are going to do the first chapter, the overview of the audit and assurance services. Right, okay, yeah. So basically this unit is one of the unit in your master program. I know most of you are from the Master for Professional Accounting, and also a few of you are from the Master of Accounting or from Financial Management Masters. So because your background might be a little bit different, so this unit, for some of you, this unit could be quite fundamental, a lot of new concepts, a lot of new knowledge, but for some of you, it may just be something you have knowing already. It's just a recap of those basic auditing information. So in this unit, we are having the 2-hour lecture and 1-hour tutorials. I believe all of you have already been allocated into one of the tutorials. One is at 5 o'clock, starting from next week. The other one is 8 o'clock. I'm still sorting out how do we organize the tutorials, because we have 2 of the tutorials. Actually, I don't really mind which one you sit in. And actually, I try to combine those 2 into one. This means I will open the link to everyone. You can feel free to enter into the tutorials plus the lecture starting from 5 o'clock, and then we conclude at 9 o'clock each week. And in the first part of the tutorial, I may, so we will have discussion of a few tutorial questions. And by the end of the tutorial, so by the end of the second tutorial, I think I would like to summarize the solutions and then probably a quick summary and then make that recorded. So this actually means if you can jump in at 5 o'clock and also continue after 8 o'clock, you can enjoy 2 hours tutorial. Last semester, it has been done very well because for a lot of students participating into the tutorials, they can study at a very slow pace and just develop their solutions during the class together with myself and also with other classmates. And I think it is a very efficient way to study, just using 1 additional hour, and then actually you get more than you do that after the class. Any question regarding the welcome statement, please? So chat, okay. Yes, no question? All right, yeah. So let's continue. And after class, after I figure it out, I would post the other short video regarding the assessment items also onto the Blackboard. So in this class, I'm just going to go through the slides regarding overview of audit assurance services. So the contents could be quite basic, but might be different from what you learned before from financial accounting and also management accounting. Okay. So in this class, we are going to have a basic understanding of audit and assurance services. And also we are going to introduce the audit report. We are also discussing the expectation gaps and why audit services are demanded. And finally, we will have a very, very short overview about the regulatory system regarding auditing in Australia. Because I'm just using a laptop, so if I see my screen, see the slides, I will not be able to see all your photos or the videos. So if you have any question, please just type in the chat box or just interrupt me with your audio. Okay. So it's good in the Zoom environment. I think we can also do a lot of discussion. I don't really mind if we take long time to do the discussion, because in auditing, at some point, discussion would be quite necessary and important for us. Right. So part one, understanding auditing and assurance services. So here we got a figure regarding assurance on an audit. From that, it's very clearly for us to know actually audit is one type of assurance engagement. So actually we can read up the definitions for assurance and also for auditing. And from different organizations, different professional bodies, different regulatory setters, actually the definition to auditing and to assurance could be quite different. But there are something in common. So I think the first thing in common is all the regulatory standard setters recognize. So auditing profession is a profession with high standard. So we call them as professional practitioners. Also, auditing engagement or assurance engagement are based on evidence. However, if it is the general assurance engagement, the evidence level might be not to the details, not very high level of evidence. If it has been labeled as audits, then the evidence should be very, very sufficient and appropriate. And the number, extent, and also the quality of the evidence should be quite high. And for both assurance and auditing, usually we believe those kind of engagement actually include at least 3 parties. So the principal, the agent, and also the practitioner. And also all the assurance engagement is based on certain established criteria upon some underlying subject matters. And all the engagement should finally have a final product of the audit or assurance report in written form. So that's why we have the 5 elements here. The elements of assurance engagement. Those 5 essential elements are 3-party relationship, the subject matter, the criteria, sufficient appropriate evidence, and also written assurance report. Any question? So actually still, I think for people who don't really have accounting or auditing pre-knowledge before, so this concept is still quite complex, hard to understand. But have you ever read an audit report before? No. Okay. So if yeah, so only Anthony has read the audit report before, but Ghana, yes, private entities only. So a lot of you have already read the audit report before, but for a lot of you as well, you don't have the chance to be exposed to audit report in your career experience. Just imagine, okay, so you and me, suppose I am your manager, you are the shareholders. So by the end of the year, you want me to write down the performance report in financial terms. Basically, that is the financial statement. Is that right? But because I actually are the agent of you, so probably you worry about if I am opportunistic, if I can be manipulating, if I change something, if I didn't report properly or correctly. So if you couldn't fully trust me, would you like to find another party to endorse the financial numbers I wrote on the financial statement? So if you try to find another party, let's say the third party would be the auditor or the assurance provider. Here we actually form the three-party relationship. Is that right? So who are the three parties in the example I gave? So the principal, the agent, and also the assurance provider, right? So the second component here is the subject matter. Still using the example of the financial statement audit. So in that case, as a manager, I report my performance. I report the company's performance in the form of financial statement. So the financial statement is actually the reflection of the financial performance and also the financial position of the company's overall performance. So in this case, what is the subject matter? That is the company's financial performance, the company's financial position. As a manager, I have the responsibility to write down the report those financial position performance in written form in the financial statement. So in that way, actually, I summarize. I report on the subject matter and summarize them into subject matter information. Could you follow? And then the auditors came to review the subject matter information and produce and then issue the auditors or the assurance report. Okay. So in the case of financial statement audit, the subject matter will be the financial performance, financial positions, and subject matter information will be the financial statements and also director's declaration, etc. And then the auditors or assurance providers actually came to audit or review on the subject matter information of the financial statement. Okay. Is this one clear? Subject matter or subject matter information? Okay. So the third one, criteria. When we are doing the auditing or assurance, do you know what could be the criteria? It's like the auditing standards will be the criteria auditors use for the materiality is a part, is the contents included in the criteria, but it's not the criteria itself. So what is the criteria for auditing or assurance services? If it is audit, so auditing standards will be the criteria auditors used to conduct the audit. And also the auditors will refer to the accounting standards, which are the criteria for the financial reporting. So the criteria will be the financial reporting framework, the accounting standards, and also the auditing standards. Question? Next one. Sufficient appropriate evidence. As we mentioned before, so auditing or assurance services, the conclusion is built upon enough evidence the practitioner, the auditors collected. So the audit report, audit engagement should be evidence-based engagement. So for any conclusions you make, you must have the corresponding evidence to support that. And also the evidence, the level of the evidence should be sufficient. Sufficient means enough. So enough for that level of assurance. Appropriate. So in terms of quality, the evidence should be proper evidence. For example, let's say, okay, one of important area of auditing will be the inventory. So does everyone here know what is inventory? Okay, so let's say, okay, so for evidence in auditing inventory, so what evidence should be appropriate? Suppose we can get those accounting information about inventory. So we have the accounting book of inventory in all the warehouse. Is this appropriate and sufficient? No, because inventory is the tangible assets. So they should be physically existed. So as the proper evidence for inventory, we should not just get the accounting evidence, we should also get those physical evidence as well. So here is just a simple example about appropriate evidence. For different types of audit area, the appropriate might mean different things. A stock take? Yeah, stock take. That's a way to get the evidence for the physical existence and also the value of the inventory. Finally, written report. All the assurance engagement should have the conclusion. This conclusion should be stated in a written report. And also there will be some exactly specific format for those reports, and we are talking about that later. Basically, so for elements of assurance engagement, we have 5 basic elements: 3-party, subject matter, criteria, sufficient appropriate evidence, and also the written report. That actually also means without any of these essential elements, the engagement couldn't be an assurance engagement. Or for any assurance engagement, you must be able to identify all the 5 elements. Okay? Any question? All right. So along from that, let's talk about the types of assurance engagement. Basically, we should have 2 levels of assurance. Reasonable, which is also called as the high level, limited or moderate level assurance. That's the 2nd level. In the reasonable assurance engagement, the evidence should be collected in a very, very extensive way. So the reasonable assurance provide high level of assurance to the principals, to the information users. For the other type of assurance, limited level of assurance. So compared to the reasonable or high level assurance, this level of assurance would be limited or moderate. For some services the audit practitioners provide, they could also provide service with no assurance. This is called as agreed upon procedures. For most of the agreed upon procedure engagement, in general, the practitioners just report their findings and they don't really provide assurance. Let's just think about examples of different types of assurance engagement. For reasonable assurance, what could be the example? Audit. Audit of financial statement. Usually, each year for the listed companies, ASX requests them to issue the audited financial statement. So in that case, the engagement, the assurance is provided at high level, reasonable level. So that is an audit. Still for listed companies, then for half-year report, they also need to issue the half-year report to the information users in the capital market, right? But for the half-year report, actually, ASX just requires them to issue, to report, to disclose the half-year report at the review level. So for the review engagement, review report provided by the assurance providers, this kind of engagement is provided at the moderate level, at the limited level. Because let's consider, so in the, for a listed company, each year, so that's 12 months, especially for a very large company, if they have 2 rounds of audit, full sets audit, maybe that could be very, very time and also cost consuming. But if they have 1 full audit and then 1 review, probably it could be more affordable. Okay, so 2 levels of assurance. Audit at high level, review at the moderate or limited level. One question here is, so can auditors provide low level of assurance? We talk about high level, reasonable level assurance. We talk about limited level, moderate level of assurance. But can auditors provide low level of assurance? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Unsure.
So I guess once we take this unit, a lot of you are expected to be an auditor in the future. So if you are in the audit profession, do you really want to provide low level of assurance? And also from the market's point of view, from information users' point of view, if the auditor can only provide low level of assurance, do you really need the audit? So actually, conceptually, auditors wouldn't provide low level of assurance. Okay. Auditors would only provide reasonable level of assurance or limited level of assurance. Otherwise, they provide no assurance. Okay. Any question on this part? Yes. If auditors provide low level assurance, the market wouldn't need that type of audit. Okay. So another classification of the engagement could be attestation or direct engagement. So the difference is quite obviously. So for direct engagement, auditors directly mirror or evaluate the subject matter against the criteria. But for attestations, auditors, so another party, mirror or evaluate the subject matter, and then assurance provider to evaluate the underlying subject matter again against the criteria and provide assurance on that. Is this understandable? Okay, still using example of the financial statement audit. So here, okay, so as assurance provider, we are the auditors. Now, the shareholders came to you, the company comes to you to ask to provide the assurance over the financial position, financial performance of this company. You say, okay. So in that case, you come to the company and you don't really look at the financial statement. You directly audit the company's financial position. That is direct engagement. Otherwise, so you come to the company, you get the financial statement prepared by the management, and then provide assurance over the financial statement. So in the formal example, that is direct engagement. In the latter example, that is attestation, because in that case, the management has already mirrored the subject matter against the accounting standards. And then you as the auditor come to evaluate the subject matter again and also provide additional assurance on that. So Now, do you think we understand the difference between attestation or direct engagement? Not really. Another example. Okay, so suppose, let's say, okay, Telstra came to you to ask for okay, let's just talk about the other example. So Telstra asks you to provide assurance over its internal control effectiveness. You see the screen? I'm typing in the example. However, Telstra doesn't have a report on its internal control effectiveness. In this case, is this direct engagement or attestation engagement? Direct, because actually you provide direct assurance over the subject matter, right? So in that case, that is direct. So I'm going to change in the words. Telstra asks you to provide assurance over its report of internal control effectiveness. So in this case, is this direct or attestation? Attestation, yeah. Assertion-based attestation, yes. So in that case, that is attestation. Okay, now it's clear, right? Okay, see. Okay, so now we do have a few examples here. The first one, that is independent auditor's report over TPG. So I choose this example this semester because I just recently heard TPG and Vodafone is going to merge, right? Okay. So if we are able to see the screen, can you please read the independent auditor's report provided by KPMG to TPG over the years 2019? On this report, are you able to identify those 5 essential elements of the assurance engagement? First, what are the 5 essential elements? Just take your time. Mm-hmm. can we just record what are the 5 essential elements here? Actually, you can speak, you can use a microphone to speak to the class. Can anyone remind me the 5 essential elements, please? Hello? Hello? Hi, hello. Just a few pages ago, the 5 elements are here. Is that right?
3-party relationship, subject matter, criteria, sufficient evidence, and assurance report.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Can I know actually who was speaking?
Actually, the slides are gone and we are not able to see the slides at our audit report.
Yeah, so now can you see the screen? Can you see the auditor's report now?
Not yet.
No,
Not yet?
you. We can see you.
Yeah.
Ah, ages ago, you couldn't really see any of the screen.
No, we could see the slides. The slides just went away about a minute ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So if you couldn't really see the screen, or if any of the information is missing on the screen, just let me know, please. Okay. All right. So for the 5 elements, we have those 5 elements here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So who are the 3 parties here in this audit?
TPG, KPMG, and shareholders.
So who is TPG?
The directors.
Let's say, okay, TPG shareholders, TPG management, and also KPMG. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is the subject matter?
Audit of the financial report.
So, the subject matter would be the financial
Statements.
position and performance of TPG, and also the management summarized them into the financial statements. Is that right? So the financial position, financial performance are the subject matters. But after summarization, that will be subject matter information. And actually KPMG is auditing the subject information in the form of financial statement, which reflects the subject matter. Okay. So what was the criteria?
And the criteria is the Australian Accounting Standards and the Corporation Regulations 2001.
How do you know that then? So it's here, right?
Yes, here they say that they use that specific standards.
Yeah, so it is actually so almost all the information should be found from the auditor's report. Otherwise, there must be some evidence to support something hidden behind the report. So do you really believe this report is based on sufficient appropriate audit evidence? And how do you know that?
They've detailed the audits on the financial report, meaning the statements and the notes, etc. Director's declaration.
So actually they say, we believe all the evidence we have obtained is sufficient appropriate to provide a basis of our opinion. And also in the next few pages, they provide some details. So at least from that auditor's point of view, they think they have already got sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So the last one, is this in the form of auditor's report, in the form of written report? Of course it is, because we can see the report here, okay? All right, so on this report, it's easy for us to identify those 5 elements. So of course, you know who is external assurance provider, right? Who?
KPMG.
KPMG. And what level of assurance has been provided?
A high level.
High level or reasonable level? How is the opinion of the assurance expressed?
That the reports give a true and fair view of the company.
Okay, so it's here. In our opinion, the financial state report of the company is in accordance with the corporation's act, including what, right? Give a true and fair view of the financial position and the financial performance, and also complying with accounting standards and corporation's regulations. So that's the way the audit opinion is expressed. Here, I just give a name to this type, to this form of opinion that is positive expression, because it could be compared with the next page. Okay, so what has been here in the next page? Sorry, how can I delete this part? Okay. Undo, okay. Right. So here we got another page of the report. Okay, so that is the independent limited assurance statement to the management and directors of Telstra. So in this report, I believe you could also identify those 5 essential elements. So just please do that after class. But here in this case, who is the external assurance provider? EY. So the biggest brand here on the page, right? Okay. What level of assurance has been provided? Limited. How do you know it is limited? In a number of places on this page, they has showing limited. For example, on the title and also here, and also in a lot of expressions that showing it is limited level of assurance. You can spot those places at the class. The final question on this page, how is this opinion expressed? Let me try to make this page. Okay. Can you see the screen? So how is the opinion expressed in this limited level of assurance report? They say, based on the work we performed, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe Telstra's approach to materiality is not consistent with the global reporting initiative's materiality principle, and the selected sustainability performance disclosure haven't been prepared and presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with the criteria defined below. So if we only retain the important keywords here, that is, nothing came to our attention to cause us believe something was not consistent, something was not prepared in a true and fair view. Is that right? Okay. So why shall we emphasize this? It is because conceptually, we give it the name as double negative expression of audit opinion. Do you feel actually this expression is different from the high-level audit statement? In the last page, so the opinion is expressed in a very, very positive way. In our opinion, this report is in accordance, is complying, is giving a true and fair view. Otherwise, if they don't really think the company gave a good report, they will say, in our opinion, the report is not in accordance, is not giving a true and fair view, is not complying. This way of expression is positive expression. Very direct, because auditors are very confident. They have strong evidence. They have high level of evidence here. But for the limited level of assurance, the expression is using the double negative way. So nothing has come to our attention to show it is not consistent, to show it is not complying, to show it is not true and fair. So from the tone's perspective, which one is stronger, the positive way or the double negative way? Just by reading the expression, which one actually gave you the higher level of confidence? So apparently, if we compare the double negative and the positive expression, the positive expression gives higher level of confidence. So usually that is for higher level of assurance. Is it right? Understand it? Any question? No? Okay. So still, we are talking about the principles. We actually embedded the auditing service. So first, ethically, the profession needs to be ethical. So the fundamental ethical principles would be integrity, objectivity, competence and due care, confidentiality, and also professional behavior. So in this class, we are not going to extend that because we will have a very, very detailed discussion in lecture 2 about ethics and auditor independence. Also, from the auditing's point of view, there are also fundamental auditing principles. So for auditors, the auditing is based on sufficient knowledge in the subject area. And auditors are responsible for the assurance, audit, and management are responsible for preparing the report. And auditing service should be secured, should be supported by enough quality control. The whole profession, auditors' behavior, high quality auditors usually would seek for rigorous and also should follow the professional skepticism. Audit report is based on evidence, sufficient proper evidence. But for some complex area, actually professional judgment of the auditors are quite important. It also comes with the why the auditors are needed. Because especially in the current situation, for example, so we have already got the robots, we have got AI technology, we have information technology, we also have machine learning technology here and there used in different accounting firms. In this case, do you think that actually the auditors are still needed for simple things that could be reviewed by the machine, by the robots? But for complex things, if they are quite complex, they are needing the judgment, they are needing professional judgments, then it has to be done by human being, by the professional auditors. So professional judgment is really important for the standing of this profession. That's also why experienced auditors could be paid of very, very high salary, right? Documentation. Once you finish engagement, everything should be filed, documented, because documents is also the evidence of your audit evidence. So if the inspectors, if the regulators want to see, have you done a good job, they are going to check your documents. Communication. In this profession, communication is so important. So it's not just dealing with the numbers, dealing with the software. It's more about dealing with people. So in addition to the skills of accounting, skills of risk management, you should also be very, very good at communications. You need to talk to people, talk to the management, talk to the stakeholders to get important information for your audit. And also, you should have a very, very good communication skills to deliver the message to the relevant parties. So that's also why in this unit, in the assessment, we are also assessing your communication skills in the presentation assessment item. Association. So everything should be linked together. The numbers, reports, people, auditor, clients, management. So a kind of association, kind of logical link with each other is important for auditors. We do need to get a very full picture of the organization rather than to just touch a simple part of this organization. Final reporting. So the final product of the audit assurance engagement is the report. You need to report it out. So that's the first part. Let's take a short break and then we come back at 7:05. Okay. in the next two parts, we are going to talk about the auditor's report, expectation gap, and also the regulations in a quick way. In the first part, actually, we have done that quite slowly because I think, so the concepts may not be so familiar to everyone, but in the second, later parts, we are going to speed up. So see you in 5 minutes. I'm going to end the meeting because I want to upload the recording, but I will come back to this room just after about 30 seconds. So see you for now.